listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Hello and welcome back to Grave Discussions. I am your host Barnabas.
And I am your co-host Samael.
And we're back for episode number 12, where we are going to be talking about a recent favorite subgenre of ours.
Yeah.
And I feel like a very underappreciated subgenre, Giallo.
I didn't even know what these were, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, when I heard about them, Barnabas mentioned it. This one isn't a Giallo, but we were watching it, I remember. We were watching Stage Fright. And then Barnabas got into telling me about, like, other Italian horror movies and stuff. Yeah. And then, you know, I found out about this whole genre that I did not know about, even though, I guess I'm more of, like, a stereotypical, like, horror movie fan. Like, I'm like the 80s fanboy, you know? So, like, and 90s. Yeah. So, like, I guess I wouldn't know about this. A lot of the Giallos, you know, a lot of the really good ones took place in like the 70s and stuff. So
yeah, even before. So we're gonna talk about it, but you know, really one of the major points about Giallo films is that they are kind of considered to have inspired the whole slasher subgenre in general. So that's something that we'll get into in more depth. But you know, that's why I kind of told you about them, because I knew you'd like them because you like slasher movies. Oh, yeah. And so we're going to talk about how they kind of helped inspire slashers and 80s films.
We get to talk about the first Giallo I watched too.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We watched it. You remember.
Yeah. No, it was really good. It's an excellent subgenre. We're going to get more into that in our main segment. But we're going to start off, as always, with some horror news for you guys. So there's been a lot of stuff circulating in the horror film community most recently, since our last episode even. First of all, you know, Cannes is still running. There's a lot of stuff coming out from Cannes, including something that we're going to be talking about in our news. A lot of really excellent looking films, some very dark movies, which I always am a fan of. And you know, some very sad news too. We're not gonna get like in depth on this, but Margot Kidder recently passed away.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was one of the stars of Black Christmas, and then another big one too.
Romeo and Juliet movie.
But another big like horror film too, I think, other than Black Christmas. I'm not exactly sure.
Wasn't Margot Kidder in the remake too?
I think was she like a cameo or something maybe?
She was the old lady.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But she's also best known for playing Lois Lane in Superman, so, you know, R.I.P.
Damn, I didn't even know that, man. Yeah. You just dropped a fucking bomb.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been around the news for a while now.
I didn't know that. Shit.
But, yeah, I think she passed away, like, last week sometime, so very sad. You know, thoughts go out to her family and all of her fans, including us. But we're going to try to start off on a happier note with the actual news here. And if any of you guys are fans of a little show called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you're going to like this bit of news. And I know that we're both like huge fans of that show. So this is really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Rob McElhenney, who you may know as Mac.
The great guy. I don't know. It's between him and Charlie.
Yeah, I love them. I can't. Dennis is so good of a character, though, too. Such a good character. So, but, you know, we're not going to talk about It's Always Sunny, even though I could forever. But Rob McElhenney, comedic genius, he's coming back with a new dark comedy animated series that was sold to Rooster Teeth, who you may know off of YouTube. They post a lot of like nerd content, gaming content. They have a lot of animated series and things like that. But this project is called Spike Face. And why don't you read off the synopsis, Sam? This one sounds good.
All right, so the series follows one of the world's greatest horror icons, hint, hint, Spike Face, so that's probably going to be Pinhead, right? who slaughters a couple at a roadside motel before he discovers that they have a baby girl, and he decides to raise the orphan as his own. That pisses off his roommates, who are also iconic horror villains. This seems like that. Have you ever watched Horror Friends on YouTube?
No, I don't think so.
It's pretty funny. Like,
so it's basically, but it's like Freddy and Jason and them, like they dress up and okay.
I think this is like in a universe where
that's interesting.
We don't know the backstory, but we're probably gonna get one.
Yeah.
But all of these like iconic killers are just chilling together.
Yeah.
You know, in one apartment, wherever they're at. It says they're roommates. I assume they're in an apartment complex. Serial killers usually live at apartment complexes or very big rich households.
That sounds pretty cool. Because I mean, we kind of saw this in the more serious manner with like Behind the Mask. Like there was this universe where horror villains actually existed, and they like knew each other and stuff like that. This kind of sounds like the same thing, but as more of a comedy, and it's animated, which is kind of cool. It gives them a lot more like creative freedom, especially to probably do something really cool with the horror icons, as they call them. But yeah, it sounds cool to me because it's exploring like a horror antagonist that has feelings. You know
what's pretty cool that I thought about just now? Like, so since these are the iconic horror villains in their universe, they're either gonna stick with the traditional cliches, or we get to see what their cliches are.
Yeah, that would be cool. I imagine they're going to be very similar to like, the 80s stuff that we think of when we think of horror icons. But it's kind of cool that he's like, stuck into raising his baby or whatever. Like, I don't know.
There's probably definitely going to be a guy with a hockey mask.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be another guy with no mask, and he's just like a lunatic, asylum guy. That's probably going to be Myers.
I mean, it is from one of the minds behind It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so either way, it's going to be hilarious. Oh, yeah. And I think it's just going to be completely, like, off the walls. But speaking of a movie that seems to be off the walls, maybe it fucking broke through the wall, I don't know. But a recent screening at Cannes, the movie is called The House That Jack Built, by Lars von Trier, who just does... He's a fucked up person. I don't know what else to say. He's just a fucked up human being, He directed Antichrist, who, if any of you have seen that movie, you know that movie is, man, it's pretty hard stuff to swallow. It's
in my queue.
Yeah, it's good.
Is that the one where you told me where like the lady tries to rip a baby out another lady?
No, that's Inside, but that one's really good too.
Jesus, man. Yeah, what's up with all these fucked
Antichrist is the one with like the genital mutilation shit, and there's all kinds of like crazy shit in that movie. It's wild. But the house that Jack built, apparently, its screening led to a mass walkout with people calling the movie vomitive, torturous, and vile, and all kinds of other shit. It's disgusting, and etc. A vile movie. There's all kinds of tweets. Basically, the film follows a serial killer, though, and it's in like 5 phases or something where he's just like killing people, and we're like exploring his psyche and shit. But apparently the film features mutilation of women and children, and I also saw something about animals too. So I mean, that's not an easy thing to watch by any means. But I think that it does have a cool premise. Like, exploring the mind of a serial killer is always something interesting. Even if the movie is like really graphic.
I'm reading these tweets that these people are saying, and it's so funny to me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's because like, I don't know, man. Like, I've just watched so much fucked up shit that I'm kind of like desensitized. Like, I don't care.
I mean, we've seen like a Serbian film and shit, and once
you've seen.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm sorry.
I read a synopsis, and people told me what happened.
I have seen that, and I've seen all kinds of other shit. And at this point, there's not much that can like
take his word for it.
Yeah, disgust me and shit. So honestly, this one, like when I watched Antichrist,
you're probably gonna have PTSD when you're
probably
old. Like, you're gonna cut your finger and you're just gonna freeze and just stare at the floor for like half an hour.
Yeah, probably. But like when I watched Antichrist, I was like, this is actually kind of tame compared to like all the other shit that I've seen. I'm like, oh my god. So I mean, I think I want to watch this because I think it sounds interesting, but it's just funny that it inspires like this mass walkout because of its content, which probably isn't as bad as it could be, honestly.
Just left The House That Jack Built screening. Gross, pretentious, vomitive, torturous, pathetic.
Yeah. The funny thing is that Lars von Trier actually likes shit like this. I saw an article that was like, he doesn't think that people hated his movie enough. he wants it to be completely like fucking. He probably wants it to be banned.
Yeah, because he wants people to hate people like that.
Yeah.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
I mean, it gets attention for sure.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's one of those conscious human psyche exploration movies.
I mean, who could unconsciously put like all this fucking mutilation of kids and animals and all this shit into their film? You know, like you'd have to be something else. You know,
Look at this.
you have to be a real piece of shit.
Why can't he just make a normal fucking movie for once? Pushing limits is one thing, but he's just a complete sadist expressing his narcissism and contempt for the world through his art. That's not his narcissism and contempt. It's what he's seeing.
He's displaying a character, though.
Because, I mean, the media, like, come on, bro. Like, they kind of show everything inhumane. Like,
and
they're trying to desensitize us. And
and there are people like this out there. That's you know, that's the real thing.
This movie's trying to sensitize you again. You see? He's trying to make you sensitive to this stuff.
And the story apparently I read takes place in 1970s America. I mean, there's been serial killers.
I mean, it's been crazy. Bro.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So it's nothing new. Like, if you're not, I mean, first of all, I don't think you should go to Cannes not prepared to see some type of shit like that, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's an independent, mostly like art house style film festival where those kind of films are the ones that really get like attention. So you should probably be prepared to see some fucked up shit. You know, that's just what I think. So, honestly, I think the early reviews and the walkout and all that shit actually makes me want to watch it more. But there is a trailer out there. I haven't seen it, but there is a trailer if you think you have the stomach to watch it. So, go ahead and do that if you want. But we're gonna move on from that to our last bit of news here, and this is something that I was really excited about. We've been talking about Guillermo del Toro for a while now, and he's one of my favorite directors of all time. And he is he is writing and directing certain episodes of a brand new horror anthology series. I think he's the producer too, called 10 After Midnight, and this is going to be...
That's catchy.
Yeah.
Anything with midnight or dark.
I agree.
Or creep.
Yeah.
Hint,
Yeah.
I'm giving you all the great anthology shows.
Yes.
We got to talk... Did we make an episode about that already?
No, but I'm sure we will talk about
Anthology
anthology. Yeah, I'm sure we will, because they're great.
Yo, episode 20.
Yeah. That'd be cool. But he's coming back with this show 10 After Midnight in partnership with Netflix, and you know Netflix has just been killing it, so I'm excited. I'm really excited for this.
It's gonna be really good.
Yeah. He's coming off of winning Best Picture Oscar for The Shape of Water, so I'm sure he's just riding high. It's basically like kind of like a fairy tale romance. It's got like a weird premise. It's basically, it takes place in like Cold War America, where this mute servant girl for like the government stumbles upon this like experiment. Basically, they're keeping this like fish man hostage, and she develops this relationship with him and tries to help it escape and stuff. Nice. So it's actually a really good movie. It's, you know, you've seen Pan's Labyrinth and stuff. It's kind of got the same kind of like fairy tale elements to it, which is good. But now, you know, he's coming back into horror, which he's done with Hellboy to an extent, and I think he's worked on a few other things too. But I mean, all his movies kind of feature horror elements. You know, Devil's Backbone had it.
I'm pretty excited because like this guy usually drops hot fire. So now that, like you said, now that there's gonna be a whole Netflix series and available like to everyone like that, it's not like it's gonna be on Cinemax or something or some obscure site. It's gonna be like on Netflix, and we can watch all like binge watch it until we throw up.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. We're definitely gonna review that because I'm sure that we're just gonna like, I'll come over on a weekend day and we'll just fucking binge watch the whole thing because they're probably gonna be like hour-long episodes or whatever.
I'm down.
Yeah, and we can talk about that.
I just finished watching all the Stranger Things I told you last time. Like, it was so good. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, so retro too. Like, that's what I liked about it the most.
Yeah.
Like the characters, like,
no, it's great.
Modern.
I love Stranger Things, and so this one looks really cool. There's no mention of a release date or anything like that, but Netflix usually will release stuff around kind of the big times of the year, so in the fall, maybe even toward the end of the summer, or you know, it might not even be until next year. I don't know, but I hope not, because I don't want to wait for it that long, but we'll see. So that's a really exciting one, and that pretty much wraps up the horror news. There's been more stuff that's been happening, but we're gonna touch on more next week. Right now though, we're gonna give you guys the terrifying trailer of the week. All right, so this week's terrifying trailer is going to be about a foreign film, and I was just trying to see where this is coming from. I think this is coming from Korea, but it's about a film called The Mimic.
Just a normal film in Korea.
Yeah, right.
Here it's a foreign film, so for us it's like, oh, let's see what these crazy motherfuckers like, because foreign stuff is the best. Like we always say, foreign stuff has the most twisted shit all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
No one can top like Italians or like French people in like the art of disturbing movies. Germans probably have the most fucked up ones.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's been some fucked up American movies too. David Cronenberg is a great example. He does a lot of like body horror shit, but foreign movies are just, there's something else for sure. So
it's so good though, because like
yeah,
they don't care. Like there's no limit to what they can do.
Pretty much,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, what a friend was telling me before when we were discussing like the foreign horror. He's like, they could just do what they want.
Yeah, basically.
Like, they don't care.
Yeah, those markets are like, I mean, not necessarily less restricted in terms of content, but not quite as much as the American movie industry, especially with the presence of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
You know, you have to tone stuff down sometimes.
You really do, because there's gonna be 40-year-old adults bringing in their 9-year-old kids to watch it, because just like my dad did with me. You know, he knows I love horror, and like he was cool with it. You know, like my dad, he was never like, yo, you can't watch fake people be fake killed, because then you're gonna wear a hockey mask and kill everyone. Like, no, that wasn't realistic. We're not all sociopaths.
Yeah, not all of us.
Maybe me, but you know.
Maybe. But
I'm not gonna butcher people.
That would be a spoiler alert. So let's go ahead and watch.
You're dirty, bro.
That would be.
You didn't even press play.
I'm getting into it. Okay, I want to read.
I seen you try to press it and it didn't work.
No.
So you kept talking.
Not yet. I got this.
I got you.
All right, whatever. So this is a new movie by the director Huh Jung. I'm probably not saying his name right, but that's how it looks. And the synopsis says, a classic Korean ghost story gets a horrifying new spin in The Mimic as the mother of a missing child takes in a lost girl she finds in the woods and soon begins to wonder if she is even human.
It seems like that, it seems like it was inspired, like, maybe by Mama.
Well, this is apparently based off of a Korean, like, classic story, so it's probably older than Mama even.
Oh yeah, of course, but like I'm
but
saying,
it does have the
like,
same kind of
like the general story.
Yeah, a little bit. So let's go ahead and watch it. As always, you can go ahead and watch the video if you want to listen through the podcast or watch it whenever. But here we go, and we're gonna watch the trailer for The Mimic. Oh.
One thing confused me from the director of Hide and Seek.
Oh, probably a Korean version, a Korean film called Hide and Seek. That's why I was in those brackets or whatever.
I mean, I think that's just, you have to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you had to like italicize films.
No, you have to put them in quotations if you're using them in like an editorial sense or whatever.
Well, I'm using MLA.
I don't know though, but I mean, I think it's a Korean movie called Hide and Seek that he did. I don't know, but anyway.
Let's remember that, because I want to see what that's about.
I would like to as well.
Because the Robert De Niro movie was good, but I want to see what they can do.
I don't even know if this is anything to do. I don't know if that's like a remake.
Because I mean, you watch The Grudge, right? And then you're like, this one's not so bad. And then you watch Ju-on and you're like genuinely disturbed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know. This already creeps me out way more than like any horror trailer I've seen in a minute.
It's making me kind of sad because they're gonna make the American version of it.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah, but you know what? For the time being, I just want to focus on this one because this one looks really good so far.
It looks disturbing, bro.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why, but like Asian people, I'm not trying to be any type of way, but you've got to be. Yeah, you've got to be really depressed. Like, I'm serious. And I'm not saying that like thank you for putting out these good movies, but like I'm kind of worried about you. They just make all the like they know how to translate that like sadness and tragedy and shit into film way better than like any other film markets out in the world. At least that's my opinion. Because if you see a movie like Tale of Two Sisters and shit, oh my god, that movie is crazy. It's honestly really disturbing, and this is like the same thing. So I'm really excited. This looks good. Let's continue on.
여자애 말이야. 목소리도 준이랑 똑같은데.
목소리를 흉내내서 잘 홀리게 만드는 게 알려져 있어. 준이야. 여자애가 보인다. 머지않아 장상모도 보이기 시작할 거야.
What the fuck?
Yo,
That looks good. That looks really
it
good.
does. It just has that like really, truly like depressing
Jeez, bro.
atmosphere. Like I'm serious. Does it not? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
There's no like,
There's no holding back.
I don't know, just the way they do the shots.
Yeah.
They don't do them from like this angle down here.
Yeah.
They're like looking at people from like here. Like that's,
Yeah.
I don't know, that does something, bro.
Or even like that
that's a
high
big
angle.
change.
Like yeah,
that high angle, bro.
yeah.
That high 45-degree angle looking at your forehead.
Yeah, it's really
While
creepy.
you're looking down trying to like read or do something. Like,
Or at the opposite end, those like really close-up shots, like of that creepy girl. I love those type of shots. So yeah, this looks really good so far. Let's finish it up. Oh fuck that!
what the fuck?
All right, she gets trapped in that cave. I'm out. I'm out.
So basically,
Fuck that.
Basically, you gotta get rid of the kid. You gotta give it to someone else. Have it be their problem. All right.
Yeah.
You don't kill the kid because that's wrong. Because we know that's what's probably gonna happen in this movie, or the kid's gonna get away with it. There's gonna be a sequel that explains her backstory, and then the
Yeah.
series is gonna die. So
I hope not.
we just gotta assume the worst at this point. Okay. Like, everything's been.
Yeah, that's
Why
that's
have high
true.
hopes?
I know that's true.
But that movie itself, man.
That looks really good.
I can't wait. When's it coming out?
I don't know. I didn't see a date. I think it might be soon, like this summer sometime, but I'm not sure.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I just pulled up something by accident that I'm also not very happy about.
We'll talk about that one too.
Actually, we can jump into it right now. We just looked at the IMDb page for the remake of Suspiria, which I'm not going to talk about that probable pile of garbage.
I don't know. I'm kind of excited.
I don't know.
It's not gonna have like the same weird,
No, definitely
really
not.
just
Not at all.
that unsettling score.
It's not going to have the same score. It's not going to have the same lighting, the same cinematography, none of that, because that's a
If it's
that's
gonna,
a lost
it's
art.
gonna be like some Ghost House Pictures type.
yeah.
movie, like,
It will. I can
like-
already tell.
Like The Eye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
just because it's got Dakota Johnson in it from fucking 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I'm over that. I'm over that.
What's me breathing into the mic?
Yeah.
That was me trying to relieve anxiety.
It does give me anxiety too, like for real.
This is real, by the way.
But yeah, I know, because I feel the same way.
Oh.
But we are going to talk about the actual original Suspiria for this week's Cult Corner. All right, so Suspiria, okay. Why is it a cult classic? You just saw it, so you could probably
I
illuminate
just saw it.
us.
I've been meaning to get to it for like literally years, because everyone was saying like such a good movie, very unsettling movie, and I was like, it's 2018. You know, I've seen some pretty unsettling stuff by now in my life, movies and
Yeah.
in real life.
You
So
would, you
like,
would think.
yeah, I would think. Until I heard the score of this fucking movie,
Yeah.
bro. As soon as this movie starts, that la 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 la, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
It's really good.
I knew some shit was suspect as fuck.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yo.
It is honestly.
At first I thought it was gonna be paranormal, right? And even though it was, like,
Yeah.
first I was like, all right, it's gonna be paranormal. And then I seen a girl getting stabbed by a person. And then I hear about like these people talk, like they kind of slowly hint it, like you hear people talking about witches and stuff. And then it slowly unfolds, like really, really slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the part with the head lady sleeping behind that thing. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me.
It was so good. And I think that
we had an invisible witch thing with
yeah. I think that we're gonna talk about Suspiria, but I think that it makes more sense to kind of talk about the main segment, which is Giallo films, concurrently, kind of, because Giallo. Well, okay, and here's the thing though. Giallo is one subgenre of horror, and a lot of people actually claim that Suspiria doesn't really fall into that camp, and I kind of get it, but I'm gonna give it a honorary Giallo kind of label, because I honestly think it does have a lot of the same characteristics, but a lot of people are not very familiar with Giallo films, so it doesn't really make much sense to talk about Suspiria if we don't talk about that, because they share a lot of the same characteristics. So
yeah, there's a Giallo meaning yellow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So
and what does that exactly mean?
So well, it kind of means something different in terms of the films, but yeah, Giallo in Italian means yellow, and it actually derives from a series of paperback novels that formed in Italy around like the 1930s, I think it was, or something like that. They came out as these books with yellow covers that were basically just Italian translations of English language like detective mysteries, murder mysteries of that time, like the 20s.
So this was like a French narrative.
Yeah.
Not French.
Or
it's
Italian, yeah.
That sounded racist as fuck.
No, I know what you meant though. But yeah, basically, so yeah, it's Italian ripoff. They adapted story, or they translated
Jack
stories
the Ripper,
from
you
like,
remember that?
Yeah.
I saw that on Shudder, and I was like Jack the Ripper, and then I seen the date. I was like, what the fuck? And then I read the word Giallo in the description. I was like, wait, Jack the Ripper? I was like, why are Italians? Is this like a fake Jack the Ripper, or was?
Yeah, no, they actually were inspired by those novels a lot as far as the films go, and the films actually kind of went further and made them really graphic and featuring nudity and all this kind of stuff that basically constitutes a Giallo film.
There was basically,
but yeah, they just went way ahead with it, because those books, those novels and stuff, yeah, they may have featured murder or whatever, but they weren't actually graphic. I mean, it was like the 1920s, but by the 1960s, when Giallo really came to be, it was already way past that. People were more fucked up and willing to explore like fucked up things.
Yeah, they really were. I just noticed, like, I don't know, these movies were like, they had their own formula. Like, it wasn't your stereotypical like slasher. Like, they had, like, Italians had their own take on it. It was like how they call it, a whodunit.
Right.
And it was usually concerned, like, centering important people. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
A writer, a filmmaker, a film student.
Yeah, they were very bougie,
a book writer. Yeah, they really were.
Yeah.
You're dirty, bro.
Because that's how it was in like Italy, like they, especially with all the magazines and all that shit. Like they really, they really like emphasize like high culture, like high fashion and shit like that. So that makes sense totally. I mean, even like I just watched Torso, and that shit took place in like fucking Rome, like the middle of Rome at this like Catholic church, or whatever.
I watched some of it, but I couldn't finish it because I was like too tired, and like, I didn't want to watch it that late.
But it was good.
I like the part in Torso when they were just sitting in their car, and there was a guy watching them in his mask, and then like the dude goes away, and she's standing out there calling his name, and then guess who shows up? Not her boyfriend. Like,
I like the mask too. I wish they had like kept more of it in toward the later part of the film, but whatever. I guess if that's the direction they wanted to take it in. But so yeah, but, it's stuff like that, like narratives like that, themes like that inspired the Giallo films to even come to be.
It was basically murder mysteries. That's how, at least that's how people saw it. I didn't really look at it like that. It was a murder mystery with like a slasher tone to it because of like the atmosphere and the scores and all that stuff. Like,
so I mean, but
it was like, it had that creepy feel to it. It wasn't just like a crime film. Because they want it to be deeper than that. Like,
a lot of them had many elements, Yeah, one of the defining elements was definitely though the fact that it was kind of more of like a crime, like a true crime, like murder mystery whodunit kind of movie, except that it had way more like violence and gore. So that was kind of one of the other elements. And even more are that, like, they would have this very iconic cinematography where they would always like zoom in on the killer's hand, and it would always be this like black gloved dude,
Yeah, and it was always like first person. It was either a black gloved dude or like you'd see like a certain thing that they would wear, like their shoes or like
their little fedora hat or whatever.
Yeah, or like in Blade in the Dark, where sometimes you saw like a certain dress, and then you heard like an old woman's voice.
Yeah, like very distinguishable elements of like the killer.
That shit's crazy. It's like you kind of don't believe it, but like they said at the end of Tenebrae, when all the other, other things have been eliminated, what's left must be truth, no matter how absurd it is.
That's true. Yeah.
No matter how crazy.
That's why I love these movies, because you always approach them more like analytically, because you're trying to figure out who the fuck it is. Like I just watched one this morning, actually, one of the more iconic ones called "What Have You Done to Solange." And that one was great.
Was that on your favorites?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, but it was actually really good. Like, I thought it didn't have quite as many slasher elements, but if the Giallo doesn't really approach it like that, the other like kind of element or themes that they have are that they explore more like trippy shit, like, the protagonist will be like in this cloudy haze and she won't remember like a crucial element of the killing she witnessed or something like that, or they're like on drugs or some shit.
I was gonna mention, in American films adapted that style a lot. Have you seen Happy Birthday to Me?
No, but
that was an American Giallo.
Yeah,
that's why I want you to watch. We could watch it.
And there are some newer Giallos, but they've really kind of been falling off lately, and we're gonna discuss that in a little more detail. But those are basically kind of the defining elements of the Giallo. It's this really like graphic murder mystery kind of thriller movie that usually has a very like typical antagonist, like killer. It's just like black gloves and this long overcoat and shit like that. And they always use some like crazy weapon. Yeah,
they whisper. Remember,
they like change their voice.
Remember, it was a Tenebrae. Spies. Remember that?
Yeah. they're honestly they're really like creepy though, because they're very like close to reality, I feel like sometimes. But
like you think you're just dealing with like a normal person, like you think it's like a crime thing, but then like you always hear the person say something or do something, and they always like they're really like fucked up in the head, bro. Like they're always just like whispering. They'll be like, they're making some
like
noises.
Psychotics.
It's just like Black Christmas, like I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of Giallos were inspired by that too. I mean, it was only like
when did that come out? Giallo's pretty much started in 1963. I think Black Christmas was after that.
Black Christmas, it was in like early 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Like 70.
So,
71 or some shit like that.
Giallo films really came into like the spotlight in the 70s, but they did start in the 60s. In 1963 with this one called The Girl Who Knew Too Much.
That's definitely then where Black Christmas got like the whispering crazy killer.
Yeah, honestly.
And then that's where When a Stranger Calls, that got the killers inside the house. That's where they got it from. So like Giallo inspired Black Christmas. Black Christmas inspired the modern
slasher.
When a Stranger Calls, like that type of movie.
Slasher genre in general, but we'll discuss more of that. I just want to wrap it up with Suspiria here. You've probably heard about Suspiria because it does have that cult status, because it's so iconic as one of the better movies by Dario Argento, who did a lot of Giallo films. But Suspiria is more of like a supernatural horror, but I wanted to bring it up here in this discussion because it does feature a lot of very classic Giallo elements, including like the score, incredible.
Man, the score was like really, like I said, very unsettling. Like when they're like, and it would just stop abruptly. Like when when like the main actress would like go into another room and like close the door, the score would stop. It would be weird because like it seemed like it was
freaks you out because you're not used to that.
Yeah, we weren't, because like it's like, oh really, the score is gonna stop, but then it really does for a long time, and then it starts up again.
Because it switches to.
It reminds me of Rosemary's Baby. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Because usually it completely stops after like this dramatic scene and goes into this like totally normal quiet scene, which I think is really effective because it catches you off guard for sure. But that, the cinematography, just the way it was shot and the lighting and everything was very like classic, because in a lot of Giallo the lighting and everything is very dramatic. You know,
It was like super suspenseful too.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
what I really like about Giallos. They're not just like kill, 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 kill,
yeah,
kill.
because they
kill,
make you
kill.
think throughout the whole movie, like what's going
And
on.
you know
You're
what's
trying to
funny?
link people to stuff. you
All
know?
of these Giallo films, like the murder ones, like A Blade in the Dark, we didn't find out who it probably was. You remember when I said it?
Mhm.
Like till like the last 10 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie, and then
I
you're
love that
like,
about
and then
them.
you're like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then it really is. And
It,
you're
it
like,
really
shit. Like
in some
we're missing
films,
that. We're missing that now.
I know.
Like,
In some films, you kind of had a good idea of who it was like halfway through, but some of those other ones, like Lay in the Dark, exactly, Tenebrae.
Tenebrae
Oh
was
my
fucking
god,
crazy.
that was
Two
fucking
twists.
nuts.
It's
yeah,
like, it's like, wait a minute.
two twists one after the other. That was, oh my god.
I wasn't
That was
expecting that.
crazy.
Like when she, basically the kitchen scene, when you see her reach for her purse, she's not gonna have an arm anymore. I'll spoil that one. Oh my god,
and the special effects in that scene, oh my god, they were.
that was so good, bro.
I can't even. I'm doing like the Italian, like yes, that's the great, you know, fucking little sign with my hand here. But it was really good. But Suspiria, oh my, I'm just gonna leave it with this incredible film. So many classic Giallo elements mixed with like this supernatural horror. It's just great. I can't recommend it enough. So definitely, if you're looking for a cult movie to go see and you haven't seen it, I'd say go see it.
Since it ties into it, they're remaking it.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you feel?
We did kind of mention that. I don't know. It feels very
Like how does it, now that you like thought about Suspiria fully, you just talked about it.
yeah.
Now how do you feel about them remaking it?
I still feel terrible about it. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like this is it's not a movie that needs to be remade. There's
Are you a
no
nihilist,
possible
bro?
way. I think I am.
I think you are.
There's no
That's not a
possible
bad
way.
thing at all, though.
I know. There's no possible way that they can capture like any of the essence of the original film, and sometimes that's not a bad thing. Obviously, with a remake,
Unless they like
years after, it's like a new movie. So okay, you kind of have to approach it through that lens, but I know it just doesn't work
they
for
need
me.
to like realize that they need some like help making
Yeah.
a Giallo. So like, I think they need to get like the director, if he's
still
around,
alive.
make
Yeah.
him a producer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Make Dario Argento produce the movie.
I believe that he may be working with them on it, but
if he
you
is,
know,
it's gonna be.
you just don't even have the same technology even to kind of recreate it on it, because that's all shit that was like done in Technicolor, and you had Goblin, the band who did the score. I don't know if they're still doing shit, and probably won't do it that good anymore.
And then there's all the nostalgia, like the
Exactly.
way that people looked
Yeah.
back then.
The
It's gonna-
special effects,
now
they're
it's
gonna make
just-
it look stupid.
Now it's
now.
gonna be just modern-looking girls with iPhones. Like,
Yeah. I mean, Dakota Johnson, who is the star and it was supposed to play Susie Banyan, she's just got this like red wig on or something. It looks terrible. Like I don't know. You can't get the girl from 50 Shades of Grey and like put her in this movie. That you're just trying to profit
You
at this
just-
point. That's it.
yeah, big time. I mean, if they
So
I wouldn't even care if you know who they should have had, and you might not agree with this, but I think her facial expressions call for it. Kristen Stewart, bro, she could have did it. Think about it. Think about that, bro.
Yeah, she just doesn't have.
Bro, that would be so fucking good.
I was just trying to think of something, but it sounded mean. But I'm gonna say it anyway.
After I
She
seen her in
doesn't.
The
She doesn't
Messengers, bro.
have. I know, but look, Kristen Stewart. I love her honestly.
She's dope.
She really like
And not 'cause of
redeemed
Twilight,
herself
by the
after.
way.
Yeah, she redeemed herself after Twilight with really good movies. So I'm a big fan of hers now. But she just doesn't have that like pretty thing going on. You know,
I don't
not.
care. I mean,
I'm not saying that she's not
I mean,
attractive.
she's all right, bro. I don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
she looks good. I'm just saying for Hollywood,
Well, yeah,
she
yeah.
doesn't have that factor.
That's why.
you
like,
know?
she's just a normal chick.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll capture like the real vibe of it. You're just like,
Right,
this is some
exactly.
girl that looks like someone that you know. Like,
I could accept that. I'm just saying that I don't think that it would ever
I don't know,
happen.
after I saw her in The Messengers, bro, when I was a
Yeah.
kid, she was really good.
and
But then I saw her in Twilight after that. I was like, no.
and you should check out Personal Shopper if you
she's in
haven't,
that?
because yeah, she's in that. She does a really great job, and it's a really good movie. But yeah, I don't know. This is really one of the first Giallos that they actually just like straight up remade. So I'm not really that excited for it. I kind of wish they'd leave it alone, but whatever. You know,
Or if they got the girl from 13 Reasons Why, she could pull that off.
I don't think I've seen her, but I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
There's like
They made their decision. They have to live with it.
someone needs to make like a really long fan film, the real
Yeah.
remake of Suspiria.
Yeah, that would probably be better than this movie. But I don't know. I'm probably gonna go watch it.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm not
definitely.
very excited.
I mean, I hope they let you down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, yeah.
Don't you? Like,
Yeah, but definitely go check out the original Suspiria. It's one of the better horror movies, in my personal opinion. of the 70s, and there were a lot of really great movies that came out then.
This was one of my favorite. This
Yeah.
is one of my favorite horror movies now.
I really
I'm
like
definitely
it a lot.
gonna rewatch it probably within
Oh, yeah.
the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have to rewatch
I just
it.
gotta take it all in again.
Yeah, but that was definitely probably Dario Argento's great. Well, I don't want to know about greatest work, but definitely his.
That was he has a lot, but that's
definitely his most well-known work. But he has
he's
just
still underrated
an assortment of movies. Oh yeah,
in America at least.
Him and Mario Bava and like Sergio. Fuck, I forget his last
Bava
name.
films are my favorites. They're so fucking weird.
Me too. They're just really brutal. You know.
They're weird though.
Yeah, they are. And like who else? Lucio Fulci.
Yeah,
Oh, he's a master. He just, oh my god.
There's
We
not-
have to watch the New York Ripper. That one
Yeah,
apparently
I was
is really
thinking
good.
about that.
Yeah.
That's what we were supposed to watch last time, but
Yeah, we could probably watch it tonight. We'll see.
I'm down.
Yeah, we'll see. But enough of our movie planning. But yeah,
Mhm.
Giallos, I mean, we can go back into that, I feel like, now.
They
because
drew me in now. Horror
yeah.
feels fresh to me now because
Yeah.
like there's like a whole library of movies
Mhm.
that I
There's a
haven't
lot of
watched or
them.
heard of.
There's like 250 of them or something like that. Like, there's a lot. But a lot of the more well-known ones, like What Have You Done to Solange and Deep Red and New York Ripper and movies like that, like those are definitely the highlights. But yeah, a lot of them just had that same structure to them, you know, with the black gloved killer, and there's just like this murder mystery.
And the killer's a weirdo.
Yeah, and you know, just all these other elements like the cinematography and the lighting and everything on them was all very similar. So you kind of knew what movie you were watching, but it was always so different. That's what I love about it.
I like that Italian vibe to the films
Yeah.
too, like not Giallo films, but like Demons, for example.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking great.
No, it was great because you know they were kind of one of the first countries to just be like, you know what, we're gonna fucking do whatever we want.
Yeah.
You know,
Fucking gangsters, bro. They're awesome.
Yeah. They're like, I don't give a shit if you're repulsed by this
Italians are the best.
or
bro.
disturbed. Like this is what I'm trying to fucking make you die. Like
Yeah.
you know, like make you want to jump off a bridge. That's how it was.
Because those are like Giallos weren't usually, besides
Yeah.
Suspiria, like some like insane like supernatural thing. It was just like a real life situation
Yeah.
with like really crazy people.
Because listen, I mean, basically in Torso, there's like multiple scenes of this like really drawn out sequence of the killer just like hacking these girls' arms off, their limbs off with like a hacksaw, and you can just see it straight up. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, bro. You had to have been like kicked in the head by a horse as a child to think of some shit like that, you know? But it was crazy. It was really good. So yeah, I don't know, but I was really interested because a lot of people who know about Giallo films really kind of consider them to be the first big, like, significant inspiration for American slasher films. And as a big slasher fan who recently just kind of like learned about Giallo movies, like, what was your like first initial impression of Giallo films with having all of that, you know, a slasher movie knowledge?
I was like, shit, man, I gotta watch more of these. Like I said, it started off just watching Italian horror, like Demons I saw, and then you showed me, what's it called? You told me about it, I think, Stage Fright.
Yeah, Stage Fright.
Then that got me into the Italian horror, and then I found out Giallos were Italian, and I was like, all right, let me find out what these are, because I see them on, Shudder all the time since you showed me that, and I was like, all right, so I gave them a chance. It started with Blade in the Dark.
Oh man!
After watching that, I was like, all right, I gotta watch more.
That's still probably my favorite one.
Then I watched Tenebrae, and then I was like,
yeah,
wow.
And then we saw Pieces.
Pieces was
oh my god,
really fucking weird.
And what else? We saw something else, I think, too, right? I'm not sure.
Did we?
That may have been it. Just those four. I don't know. I feel like we've watched some more. I think you've watched.
I've watched Bird with the Crystal.
You've watched
Plumage.
Bird with the Crystal
I watched that in
Plumage.
college though,
Yeah.
so it's been a while.
Yeah, we should definitely revisit it. But
It
I've
was
seen.
good from what I remember.
Yeah, I've seen like some trailers and stuff and clips. But yeah, I've seen Opera or not Opera. I want to see that. I've seen Inferno as well. And then today I watched, like I said, What Have You Done to Solange, which was also really good. And then
there was a sequel to
I
Bird
watched
with
Torso.
the Crystal Plumage.
Was there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I know that some of the movies are very similar, but I don't know.
You got to see Happy Birthday to Me though. I think that was an
Yeah.
homage to
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
because you
Those-
don't find out till the end who it is.
Those movies became so prevalent in the 70s.
Black
They
Love Killer
basically,
and all.
yeah, they basically dominated the film, the world, the global film market. You know, because they were just
Yeah.
so fucked up.
And yeah, they
And
all
people
had,
loved them.
until Myers came around with the jumpsuit, and then with the mental institute,
Right. So
thing, and then everyone took that and ran with it, made some movies like Silent Madness, which
Yeah.
wasn't so great. I mean, it was pretty good, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, but
Well,
it
yeah, I know,
wasn't so
I know
great.
what you mean. Yeah. So okay, so that's another question. You bring up a good point. So after like the 70s, Giallo movies were still around, and we saw some good ones in the 80s. But honestly, they kind of fell out of fashion, and I think it was definitely due to
The campy slashers of the U.S.
to the slasher movie subgenre really becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you about that, like why you think that really kind of happened, why these 80s slashers, which are definitely inspired by these Giallo movies, actually pushed the Giallo out of favor and basically made it non-existent. Like
They just wanted to bring some other cliches to perspective, like the
Yeah.
stupid teenagers doing bad stuff, because like America was a Christian nation, like not a Christian nation, but like everyone back in the day, like in the 70s and like the 60s was like, so they were pushing that, sex is bad narrative, like Friday
Right,
the 13th and such, but like that's what they were trying to push.
Mhm.
I think it was just like each director had their own beliefs, so like
Yeah.
Italians, they have like, I don't know, they were just raised differently, so they express themselves differently. They don't think there's any like limits to the art, and like the American directors were just like, hey, it's different over here.
that's true. Yeah,
I think it's
definitely.
basically like where we live. I think that's like why it
'Cause-
became more like, because there wasn't people walking around, like
Mhm.
like in Suspiria, like I guess that could be true, but like like Blade in the Dark, for example, like,
Yeah.
you can't really see that like
Right.
anywhere, like
Yeah, because I mean, yeah,
happening to normal people like this.
right.
They wanted to change the narrative to just like shit happening to you and me,
Yeah,
not like
it-
shit happening to like a famous guy.
It's very like they're very similar themes, because for like the American slasher, one of the big themes that they do explore is, like you said, like or I don't know how to say it very well, like adolescent sex, like like kids
Yeah, they were pushing a
discovering their sexual nature early on,
and
and
it'll kill you.
right, and it's like bad for you because there's a lot of these like Christian ideals and all of this, like if you sin, you're gonna die basically, like, and it just happened to be by like a masked killer. But in Italy with the Giallo movies, it was like kind of the opposite, honestly. It was a lot of sexual
shit'll happen to you if you're
repression. Well, that, but also this this sexual repression, and like someone just being basically crazy and like hating women for whatever reason. It was usually it was usually some like older guy too. So that's honestly, they're similar in the respect of sex and stuff, and that's why Giallo movies were very exploitative. Like they had a lot of nudity in them as well. It was sexploitation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the American side, it was the opposite, and I think they kind of wanted to do that to, honestly, as weird as it sounds, make horror more accessible to people.
I think so.
Yeah, because that was a much more like acceptable thing to think about, and try to comprehend, rather than like basically mental illness, which was Giallo in a nutshell.
Yeah, that was mental illness, but like
sexual in nature.
Yeah, but like also like being discreet, smart, sneaky. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he has a mental illness, but he's not dumb.
Yeah.
He can do evil shit
Functioning.
really well. He's smart at evil shit.
Yeah.
He's good at that.
It was usually one of like the main characters in the actual movie that we got to see interact with other people and stuff. But it was usually some like, upper level like guy.
Yeah.
So he was sophisticated,
and we can't
but he was
relate
crazy.
to that. And
right.
how in America, everyone me.
I mean,
So,
even
like,
the horror culture leans more toward younger people.
Yeah, like teenagers
Always.
getting slaughtered.
Yeah, so
It's
that was
either
just
a
more
teenager
accessible.
or couples moving into a new house. Am I right?
Right, yeah.
Or like grown people who did bad stuff, and now someone came to like give them their due.
Yeah, I totally agree. But it was definitely mostly kids, because the kids of the 80s in America were able to be like, as like a 16-year-old boy, right?
Yeah.
And be like, oh, hey, did you guys see the trailer for that movie about a bunch of 16-year-old kids who get chased down by a killer? What fucking idiots, like, they're so stupid. I would never do something like that. So they go watch it and they tell all their friends about it. That's how it was.
Yeah. And no one cared about cheesy acting, because like movies hadn't even been like at least like fully colored, decent looking films weren't even around till like probably like, I would say, what, 70s, 60s?
Well, yeah, Yeah.
with good cinematography.
Yeah, they didn't have
too.
a lot of time to develop all the color and all the technology. I mean, at the time, obviously, that was the best, but it was like grainy and shit. You know,
it was,
the sound was really bad. Like sometimes it wouldn't even sync correctly.
I don't know, that's why it looked like
Yeah,
believable to me. I
yeah.
don't know.
But obviously now that's like what adds to the nostalgia. But yeah, so thanks for your insight. But yeah, I think it's really interesting how slashers really just kind of overtook Giallo.
Yeah, it's kind
which
of
is why they're not really around anymore.
But look what happened to the slashers. It died before the 80s ended. You know what I'm saying? Like 87 was a dark time for like slasher movies. 89 it was like stop it. Like,
but I mean, we still saw the presence of like Scream and then I think it had a resurgence even because, you know, with movies
Scream
like
brought it back.
Yeah, movies like Scream, movies like
and then found
I Still Know What You Did Last
Blair
Summer.
Witch.
Yeah.
Blair Witch brought that shit back.
So honestly, I think that now they're probably dead again, but you know, during those couple periods of time, slashers were the big thing, and then yeah, they kind of died off. But Giallo really hasn't made a comeback at all. I think for one, because America has become even more dominant in the film industry, you know, worldwide, and they're just not willing to explore as much stuff as foreign films are, and there's just a whole different atmosphere with foreign films anyway. You know, because every
They're
country
like more
has their
psychological
conventions,
too.
but
Like
yeah.
foreign films, like that's over here. The focus is on like brutality and what can someone do to someone. Like
yeah, I mean that is kind of what a lot of the Giallo films are about, but they have much deeper themes as well. Whereas American slashers usually don't really. So yeah, that's why I really like them. You know, I took a poll on some of our social media and asked people, and I actually got a really big response from the horror subreddit on Reddit. Like that whole community, they're great. And usually if you just ask a question, even if it's like a stupid question, you know, people will come in and answer. And a lot of people actually answered my post or my question, which basically was, you know, what's your favorite Giallo and why? And there were a lot of diverse answers, honestly. Like that's how many good movies there are in the subgenre. It's not dominated.
Yeah, I think I have the list.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just, I mean, I would say Argento and Bava are probably like the two main filmmakers in that subgenre in Giallo that you think about, but you know, they're not all that there is. They're not the end all be all. You know, there are a lot of really other excellent movies like Torso that are, you know, by different directors. But yeah, there's just a lot. I mean, I've seen mentions of that. I've seen mentions with Bird with a Crystal Plumage. What else was there? What Have You Done to Solange? Tenebrae. Like all those movies, you know, people really like a lot. So I mean, I'm kind of curious. Out of everything that you've seen so far, what's your favorite and why?
I think it was A Blade in the Dark.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was like my first, one of the first I watched.
It popped your Giallo cherry.
Don't ever say that, bro. Jeez, but
it's true though.
Yeah, I mean that's not why though. It was such a good movie though, because
it was. Yeah.
I didn't expect who it really was at the last second.
You got your first taste of the Giallo. You know, that's another trope of Giallo, I guess, is, you know, leaving you thinking and not revealing the killer, whoever it is, until like the very last act of the film, usually in like the last 10-15 minutes, which I actually really like because it keeps me engaged with the movie. You know, because every time we've watched a Giallo film so far together, you know, sometimes we'll get distracted with other movies, but pretty much the whole time we were like, did you see that? Like maybe it's this dude, you know, like he just did this or whatever.
And we see him get
I
killed.
think that's great. Yeah. Then you're like, fuck, like, all right, let me refer to my notes here and figure out who else it could be. Like, I wasn't taking notes, but that's how I thought.
Like be really analytical to find out who it was.
I like it. Not enough horror movies these days kind of make you think, and I think it's kind of changing in some ways with a lot of these modern independent horror films. But you know, pretty much until that point, we weren't really getting that anymore, and that's why I really like Giallo films because they just I feel like this is a good description. They just explore like the darker side of humanity, you know?
Yeah, they really did. They focused more on like the individual that was doing the stuff, like because like they're forcing you to break down like, yo, it can't be him because this, and then you got to figure out what type of person they are really, and then by the time you do, you're like, no, I should have fucking figured it out.
Yeah, I know. I felt that way pretty much with every single one. Probably my favorite example of that personally could very well be Tenebrae, because the plot twist was insane. Like I was analyzing it so much all the time, and I never thought that it was going to be that guy.
I didn't either. Like even until like only like once he was revealed. At first I didn't believe it, but then like it kind of made sense.
Yeah, it just showed more and more, and I was like, oh fuck.
I was like, he's the fucker from the beginning. Like,
right. Yeah. So that was probably my favorite one. I don't know if I would say that's my favorite Giallo. I'm really kind of torn between Blood and Black Lace, which I don't think you've seen yet, but that one is incredible. That or because I would say Suspiria, but I guess if we're technically not really considering it Giallo officially, then I can't say that. If I can,
I would say
that's probably my favorite. Yeah, I would also probably agree with that. But so I would say that's my favorite one. But if we're not really counting that, I would probably say Blood and Black Lace. That honestly, that was the first Giallo I watched.
Blood and Black Lace.
Yeah, it was really good.
See?
Yeah, it was really good. So yeah, you have your Blood and Black Lace, The Blade in the Dark.
First is always the best, bro.
That's true. So I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. I think we've explained kind of what they are. You know, why they were popular, why they fell out of fashion. So, yeah, man, just, you know, I put up some polls and stuff. Let me know what your favorite Giallo film is and why, and what you feel, like how you feel about Giallo films kind of disappearing. There are some new ones that have come out, but not nearly as much. So, yeah, I just think it's a really interesting subject. It's a really cool subgenre that I really enjoy, and I definitely plan on exploring more of it, because I haven't even touched a lot of, like, you know, some of the most iconic ones like Deep Red and Bay of Blood and shit like that. But yeah, you know, let us know what you think. I think we're definitely going to revisit this subject once we have even more experience, because
once we find a movie we both like really fall in love with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I think we're both pretty much in love with Suspiria, but we definitely have to find a new one.
Blade in the Dark still is like, it's my top one right now. That and Tenebrae. So
yeah, if I
find something else, then
for sure
we shall see.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna end things off this episode. Pretty brief one probably, but with the chopping block. And this week's chopping block is about a movie called Final Exam. What year did that come out? 1980? 81. Yeah.
It's just basically a Michael Myers type guy out of college.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think we're gonna have a split opinion here.
Yeah.
And by the way, the movie is on Amazon Prime now, and it's about basically a killer out of college. You know, there's not really much more to say than that, in my opinion.
No rhyme, no reason.
It's just some fucking weird random guy. Anyway. I'm not even gonna get into all that. I say it's chopped. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was so fucking boring and not even like bad enough to be good. Not even bad enough to be bad enough to be good. You know?
I think it was just terrible enough for me to be good.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not good.
That's fair.
It's not good. It's a really bad movie, but yeah. I give it a nod of chop because nostalgia.
I guess it did feel very 80s, but it didn't feel like a slasher horror movie to me. It felt like a teen college rom-com, you know, like fucking Animal House, but even like more tame and mostly involving teenagers. But there's like a dude stabbing people for like a total of a minute and a half in the entire movie.
And he can break through doors.
And you know what was stupid? Okay, spoiler alert.
I like how he died though. You gotta admit.
No, I'm gonna get heated right now. Spoiler. I did. But you know what I didn't like also about how he died in that same scene? Okay, spoiler alert. So it's just this random fucking guy that's killing people. And so for the entire movie, he's catching these kids off guard. But once that main chick like traps him in that kitchen, she hits him in the fucking back with like a steel pan, and he just goes down like a bitch.
Yeah, he does.
He goes down like a little bitch. And then at the end, he gets stuck in like they go up in this clock tower, and he gets his foot stuck through the wood, and she just beats the shit out of him with this like fucking 2x4 block.
That was great. That was my favorite.
She beats the absolute shit out of him, and then he has the audacity to fall from the top of that fucking clock tower down onto like the concrete and like still be alive. Oh, and before that, when he was still up there, this dude came.
But when he caught the bow,
he caught the fucking arrow mid-flight in like one hand. It was fast as fuck.
And
too.
It's crazy because like that wasn't CGI. That's also crazy.
Yeah.
So like this motherfucker caught an arrow.
They definitely cut it though, but no,
Oh,
Listen,
man.
how can you have lightning fast reflexes and be able to survive a story from like, I don't know, 25 feet high or whatever, or maybe even higher, but like you get your ass beat by a metal pen and a fucking 2x4 block of wood?
It was
What
like,
doesn't make any sense?
It was like Frankenstein, Michael Myers, and like
Oh
an
my
8-year-old
God.
girl did a fusion. Like that's how durable that guy was.
Did you notice that
You
his,
could edit that out.
did you notice that his like defining feature is like that stupid ass necklace that he's got on his fucking neck? Like, what is that? That's your defining like like what the fuck? And then he had that little like rat mustache, like it was like 3 hairs on his mustache and shit. Like,
Yeah, bro.
that's your killer.
It was great. He looked like a janitor just who lost his
I
fucking mind.
I'm gonna be like Black Panther. Is this your slasher killer? Like,
He had that
what?
bowl cut of the kid that never goes outside.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, bro. It was so funny.
And they never explained who he was or what happened to him, which I guess I kind of liked, but he was so stupid that I kind of wish I did know, because I'd be like, yo, I want to find this kid's mother and just slap her in the face for giving birth to this kid. You know?
It was great, bro. Like it was so bad. It was so terrible. Like it dragged on, but that fake terrorism scene was
Yeah.
fucking.
Oh my
that was
God.
ridiculous. Yeah, just a college prank, bro.
Right.
Remember, it's a prank, bro. Like that was the first one.
Their classmates really thought that they saw their classmates get fucking murdered by like 6 dudes with
And
AK-47s.
ski masks.
Like, what kind of fucked up do you have to be as a like human teenage boy to think of some shit like
Think
that?
about it. He's gonna be a doctor or some shit one day.
Yo, he's gonna be a rapist doctor one day with all that shit.
Would you like more laughing gas? No, thank you.
Anyway,
So
I didn't like it.
Sounds like you did though.
No,
you
I'm just angry. That's all it is.
But it inspired this anger, bro. Such a good film.
I guess. I mean, if that's sure, but it's still chopped.
It's not chopped for me just because of like how stereotypically slasher it is. I don't know. It came out during like the slasher prime '81. You know, so like it was just like you knew it was gonna be horrible shit garbage because everyone's trying to replicate Michael Myers, and they literally tried to replicate Michael Myers.
Except they failed even more than I thought could be possible. You know, like I think there was a limit to how badly you could fuck up a Michael Myers ripoff, but they even surpassed that.
Yeah, Offerings was worse though with the Michael Myers ripoff.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm
I don't know.
But all these Michael Myers ripoffs, like I don't know. I just like the setting and the time, like the era that it was. That's all I like.
Yeah, it's definitely nostalgic. I'll give you that for sure. But
so
in terms
bad.
of the actual film, oh my god, I'm just gonna stop talking about it because I'm gonna start throwing up.
Just a
I
shit,
feel it.
a shitstorm of kills, bro.
Yeah,
And
not really.
that don't even happen until 47 minutes into the film.
It feels like later than that, bro. It feels like the last 10 minutes.
When that guy tries to steal the pills,
Yeah,
isn't that when it
doesn't.
started?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anything happens.
Or when you remember when he teleported, like the kid
Yeah.
ran was it a girl? She ran in an entirely different direction, and she went up some stairs. As soon as she turned the corner, he was there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like how?
Anyway, I guess with the mixed opinion, we always recommend that you go check it out so you can like determine if you're gonna regret it or not. Like
Just
if I was right.
Watch it so you know what Michael Myers did. Like
I guess. Yeah.
watch it so you know like what type of movies tried to rip it off and just get last minute money
Sure.
grabs. At least they don't do this that much anymore. Like at all.
Eh,
They don't rip off movies.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you could probably find some that are exceptions, but yeah. But that's what I think about.
Watch
Final
it and go
Fantasy.
see.
Yeah,
This is like
I guess.
this is just like the open house thing we did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hated that fucking movie.
Such a good movie.
I'm thinking about not bringing you on the show. No, I'm just playing. Sometimes you have different opinions. That's okay. That's why we're here to tell you what ours are, because ours are the most important, obviously, and you should care about them.
You should trust Barnabas because he has glasses.
That's true. You have a nose.
I have contact lenses.
Yeah, you do.
I choose not to wear glasses because I'm not a nerd like you.
You're a nerd. So, hey. I think that's going to pretty much do it for this week's episode. We've talked a lot about Giallo movies. We talked a lot about 80s stuff. So, if you're into that, let us know what you think. If you've never seen a Giallo before, I highly recommend you do that. I've seen a lot of recommendations saying that you should start with Bird with the Crystal Plumage. So go watch that. Some of the others are a little harder to get into, but let us know what you think. And if you have a favorite, let us know what that is and why. We'd love to hear from you. So as always, you can follow us on our social media. And what do we got now, Sam?
We have a Twitter.
Yeah. Chirp, chirp, motherfuckers.
So if you guys want to send them tweets our way,
Yeah.
we'll reblog your cat. We'll be like, look at this cat.
Except I'll add like a zombie effect to it or whatever. That would be cool.
Original.
Sure. Yeah. We've actually been getting a lot of success from Twitter lately. I don't know if I told you this, but yeah, we've had a lot of people following us back. We even got sent like a short film.
Nice.
Or like some contents of a short film.
I read that on Instagram too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. I'm really excited about that. So thank you to everyone who's been following us and checking out the podcast. We will be back next week as always
on Grave Discussions.
Have a terrible night.
That's mean.
I am mean.
This has been an SRD production.